Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to a truly special online event today. It's called Develop New Psychic Senses with the Blue Light Codes. Discover how your body is awakening new levels of intuition and human potential. My name is Stephen Knight. I'm the founder and president of the Shift Network. And one of the things I love most about my job is to explore new frontiers of awakening, human potential. I'm always learning, and today we're going to get to learn about some really cool things, the blue light codes from a true pioneer. Her name is Nancy Rebecca. She's a registered nurse, a visionary psychic, former hospice nurse, and founder of Intuitive Mind. And we're going to be going into the blue light codes today. And if you get sparked by what you hear, we've got a brand new course with Nancy coming up. It's called the Blue Light Codes for Evolution. We'll share more about towards the end of the hour. So with that said, Nancy, thank you so much for joining.
Well, thank you, Stephen. And I am genuinely thrilled to be having this conversation with you today because it is a subject that is new to many, many people, and the world is changing so rapidly. So I'm excited to be sharing it with everyone.
Great. Well, I know that anytime there's pioneering of new possibilities, there's a backstory behind it. So let's hear
Yeah.
about your backstory that led to the blue light codes and the blue beams of light, since I think that's really important and relevant.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I am a retired registered nurse, which you've already mentioned, and I worked in ICU and I worked in hospice before retiring. And I found that when my experiences as a nurse, I often experienced patients who were having their own experiences and having um their own illnesses that they were miraculously healing from when everything else in science was indicating that they shouldn't have. So I was always a very curious nurse, very kind, very caring. It was, very passionate about. And then it was in the early 90s. I had three of my own family members dying at the same time in a 6-month period of time. And I ended up having an out of body experience, a spontaneous out of body experience just from stress alone. And it was during that time that I had what I call I became suddenly sighted, meaning that when I came back to my body, suddenly I could hear people's thoughts, I could see their aura and chakras. I could sense and feel things. And so the whole world rapidly changed for me, which then led me in 2013. I had lived in South Africa for quite a few years to study with the South African Sangomas there, to become a traditional medicine woman, because I was really curious about this unseen world that we were living in. And I wanted to go back to the ancient roots on how does this all happen? And so I then in 2017, this is the point that leads us to where we are now in this workshop. I was visited by about 12 blue light celestial beings. There wasn't anything that they didn't expect me to believe in them. They didn't ask me to believe in them, but we had this conversation. But the conversation was through sound, through frequency, through light, and in that conversation, we'll call it the celestial multidimensional conversation, they gave me the message that I needed to go to China to get the prophecy, the blue light prophecy. And that's a whole entire story in itself, which could take a couple of hours, but ultimately the prophecy was that all of humanity was going to be going through this awakening process. There would be a lot of blue light involved that would be coming in to help uplift the frequency of humanity and to help us be able to tune into our own experiences and to develop our higher states of consciousness to contribute to the collective. And so that's what I've been doing since then.
Hmm. Fascinating that the root systems for this emergence came both from ancient Africa and ancient.
So on the day before I left China, I was able to meet a Taoist master who was able to confirm and affirm the prophecy that I was able to get, that the entire world was going to be going through this mass upliftment of consciousness. But the other piece, this is the piece that surprised me the most when he shared with me that the prophecy that had been shared and the reason why I came to China, that information was written in a book in China that was published 1,500 years ago. That they had
Whoa.
written about the blue light beings and they had written about the prophecy and had written about during this time that would be humanity would be awakening.
That's a remarkable prophecy. I mean,
Yeah.
1,500 years old. Wow.
Yeah.
I was not aware of that. So that definitely lends another level of credibility to what you've experienced. So that's great.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And in terms of, so who are the blue light beings? Are they just higher dimensional beings, or are they some sort of extraterrestrial? Do you know?
Well, I have to be real and to be honest with you, Stephen, they it just was not my cup of tea. I don't know, for a lot of people maybe it is, but I felt a little out of my league, a little bit out of my lane because I'm a registered nurse and the health of the human energy field is my passion. Um, However, they really were good at putting me at ease. So the reason why I preface it that way is because I didn't ask them a lot of questions. I just thought it was going to be just this short period of time of flash awakening in my limited, narrow mindedness. So I didn't ask a lot of questions. But in the past year, I have. And they are from Syria, they are Syrian and part of the Orion's constellation as well. So the Orions and the Sirians. But since then, there's been many other star beings that have come through. And what they have shared with me is that there's the frequency of blue is one that many star beings use. It isn't just kind of narrowed down to the Sirians and the Orions, that there are many other types of star beings. It's a quality that I'll talk a lot about today, that quality that is being shared with the world and with the earth right now, which is part of that kind of awakening consciousness
Mhm.
process. But yeah,
It's
that's
fascinating that it's also just an interesting moment we're in. I just wrote an article recently about the Disclosure Day and how mainstream it's getting to
yeah,
really recognize that we are on the cusp of this deeper collaboration, communication with other wings of the galactic family, if you will. So it's
yeah,
fascinating that 1,500 years ago, there's prophecy that this
yeah,
contact would start to take place more.
yeah, that it was predicted. I mean,
Yeah,
that's pretty mind-blowing.
pretty specific. So, what is it that you've learned about why the blue light is used so commonly by other lineages?
So this particular blue frequency, it is like a lapis blue, although I've learned since then that a variety of blues can be used depending on the comfort level of each individual. But the blue that they're specifically were sharing with me is a lapis blue, and it has three qualities that they shared with me. And so the first quality is it dissolves all illusions. So in 2017, the prophecy was it would start coming in 2019, which it did. And then in 2021 and 2023. And they specifically came through pyramids. But it was to dissolve illusion in the world. And then its second quality was to illuminate pure truth. And then its third quality is to bring about justice in the world. And so those are the three qualities that it works with. What I've learned in this period of time is there's been a lot of illusions that have been revealed. There's a lot of pure truths that have come to the surface to help us maintain our focus. And there are justices that are coming to the surface that are bringing things into balance. And and so those three qualities, what surprised me the most, which shouldn't have, is even inside of us. What illusions do we have about ourselves? And some of those biggest illusions are that, either we're not worthy or we're not uh, capable or we're not able, those illusions that are being dissolved and the truth of just how incredible we are. And so, yeah, it's this. and it's very specific about opening up intuition, psychic ability, uh, sensitivities, and then activating the light body, activating our own crystal body. So yeah, it's pretty incredible energy to work with.
Mm. Well, it makes sense that this sort of dissolving of illusions, the sort of the recalibrating with truth, and then justice has to flow. Those are sort of a natural sequence because
Yeah,
these illusions are built on some level of control or manipulation of the truth,
yeah,
probably not for the highest good.
correct, correct. Yeah.
So you would see this kind of, or you think we're still kind of primarily in the dissolution phase? It seems like there's elements of the truth emerging, and justice is probably still kind of nascent, let's say, but the dissolution phase seems to be in the foreground.
Well, there are days where I'm like, okay, this isn't happening fast enough. And then there are those days where it feels like it's happening too fast. And, where so much what has been hidden will be revealed. And it's just like, because at that human level, and this is the part where my nursing part really comes in, our nervous system really comes in. It's vital after 30 years of working with students. What I've learned is if we don't take care of this body and the nervous system, then if we don't think our body's that important, it will stop us with just life and illness and all kinds of things. You catch a cold and you can't get out of bed. It'll show you that it needs you to slow down to be able to integrate. So when I say sometimes it feels like it's just like disclosure day, or anything else, then it's like we need that body to be able, our body to be able to cope. And so this is my message. We are accelerating at a galactic level so quickly. Our bodies have full capacity and capability to do that, but we still have some work to do at that body
Hmm.
level and how to
Hmm.
recognize that. Yeah.
So when you're working with the blue light, you're not it sounds like you're not trying to rush that process. You're just sort of letting it kind of unfold in its own organic pacing because there's only so much that we can take.
Yeah, it's totally safe to meditate and infuse, your energy field with blue light every day. Um, and yes, allowing time to integrate things, but also the blue beings of light they'll kind of come through and say, okay, things are ramping up. Things are
Hmm.
ramping up. And so they'll just ask me to give that message and just get myself ready.
Hmm.
And mostly getting myself ready is just talking to my body a lot, drinking more water, getting out in nature, but also working with the blue light more. And we are in a phase during this class where things are really ramping up. So it's um, it's just vital right now that we get out in nature as much as possible, and that, like I said, drink fluids, get out and walk.
Hmm.
So some really easy to do things, but we are definitely in a ramping up phase right now with the blue light.
So when you say that, it sounds like part of, instead of it just being like an individual phenomenon, like, oh, we're calling in the blue light for ourselves, it's more like there's a collective escalation, and then we are sort of harmonizing or aligning with that process.
You've just nailed it. You got it. That's exactly right.
Hmm.
Because it's happening to everyone. It isn't, you do not have to be drawn to spiritual work. You don't have to be drawn to energetic work. To me, it feels so quantum at that level where there's this movement of energy, and it's not outside of us, it's inside of us as well, but it's just in the whole world and in the whole universe. But yes, regardless of religious orientation or belief systems, you can be highly devoted and faithful and religious, or you can be purely scientific and atheist. It doesn't matter. We're going through a transformational process.
Hmm. How does this relate to the opening of intuitive gifts and intuitive abilities?
Well, initially, and that's what I've been teaching for 30 years, is intuitive development and intuition at a very precise level is how I describe psychic ability is, where it's not just having a hunch, but what do you do with that hunch? What steps do you take to do a deep dive to get more information? So we've always talked about the four clairs, which was our clear knowing, clear seeing, clear hearing, clear feeling. But as I've been working with the blue celestial beings now, they're telling me we have many, many other levels of intuitive ability. So this is why they've expanded it to 11. I think we have more than that, but they want humanity to start getting used to I wouldn't say new. We've always had those intuitive abilities. We just didn't have the body sensitivity enough to always experience them. But it's like, just like one example they call thermal intuition. And so for some people, they have a heightened ability of, they'll get super, super hot, or they'll get super, super cold, because the energy in the room has shifted, and they can use that hot or cold. They can start reading their environment just based on that. Most of us would just grab a coat to put it on or something, but they're asking us to start tuning in at a greater intuitive level. And so I'm going to be covering all 11 levels to just introduce those concepts.
Well, I know we don't have time to go through all the different levels in depth, and you're going to be doing that more in your course, but maybe just give a little preview of what are some of the, a couple of these that feel like they start to open up as a new octave or a new dimension of intuitive abilities.
Yeah. So one, I know many people will be able to relate to this, and this may be new for some people, but it's called Earth intuition, or it can be Gaia intuition, where some people are extremely sensitive to Earth, and they know an earthquake's coming. They know a
Hmm.
tornado's coming. They know a hurricane's coming. They'll know that the earth is making a shift. They can read it in their body. They can sense it in their body. And for some, they can sense it with great accuracy. And so, and they can tell if a hurricane's going to be life-threatening, or if it's just needs to turn over the earth or the waters to help uplift humanity. So they get that higher soul conscious level of intuition with that earth. And then on top, the flip side of that, there's this kind of galactic or cosmic intuition, where they can feel when the planets are moving. They can hear the sound of the planets. They can feel the personalities of the planets. And they know when maybe two planets have converged or crossed, like we talk about Aquarius being in Pluto right now, in the sign of Aquarius, but you may have Mars and Neptune, and they'll be able to know exactly when it's clicked in, that they're that sensitive to that information. And then they get downloads of information from the cosmos. So we're already seeing and witnessing and experiencing people who are able to tap in at that level. But once you know it's an intuitive gift, then you can start really working with it and enhancing it. And the blue beings really can help with that as well.
Mhm. You mentioned that originally there were around 12 that showed up for you. Is there a primary kind of like team that you're working with on an ongoing basis that are sort of more global, or is it kind of more individualized?
They're more, I would say, this team of 12, it has remained a team of 12. I haven't named them. I know some people will tune into names. I've always called them the Blue Celestials, because as I said in the beginning, there was that part of me, Stephen, that was just like, this is this is a lot,
You're
this is
not
a
in
lot.
Kansas anymore.
Right. Right. And so so they're fine with that, but there's one primary one that does most of the communicating with me, but the others stand in the background. However, uh there are, I'll say, in a conservative would be hundreds of thousands on the planet, and not conservative millions, who are working in different places around the world. And they'll show me the visual of the whole entire world. They'll show me where they are strongly. probably about 4 years ago, they really started going to different countries and working to activate sacred sites. So they've been activating all these years sacred sites to get ready for a larger amount of uh, uplifting frequencies to come in, where these sacred sites are getting supercharged to be able to hold that frequency. And then they are helping in war-torn areas. So they're not intervening, but they are just trying to repair grids, repair damage to the earth, and things like that, just to keep the energy uplifted and moving as much as they can.
Hmm. Is one of the intuitive abilities, sort of the ability to sense them, is it's
Yeah.
fascinating how you can sense all of their activities that they're up to. So you've kind of got almost like tuned your radio frequency receiver to that particular broadcast frequency.
Yes, yes, that is definitely one of those. And I don't, it's almost like uh, even the angelic realm, but yes, the star being realm. So in the spirit realm, and it goes beyond mediumship, where it's very high level beings, ascended masters. So yes, there are some people that have that intuitive sense to know, like if they were to come up to you and they'll say, "Oh, Stephen, you've got a lot of angels around you." That would be that type of intuition. And
Hmm.
a lot of people don't know that type of intuition
Hmm.
exists. And once they know that, and again, it's about our body becoming more attuned so that we can tap into those sensitivities and take advantage of them to help us navigate the world. And besides, Stephen, honestly, it is so much more fun being intuitive than
Hmm.
not.
I mean, I love it too. You get guidance go in all sorts of fascinating directions and things open up. I want to ask about, so since angels are sort of like a higher frequency being, are not as much part of the incarnational cycle, is it kind of a parallel? It's almost like these are almost like angels from another star system, if you will.
Well, that's a big question that comes up. And are they the same? Are they just interpreted differently? I will say that the celestial beings that I talk to do not have wings. And so when I do talk to, the angelic realm and be able to communicate with them, many of them do have wings. So they just come from different dimensions. And what's interesting is there's with the angelic realm, um, I think their missions are different, depending on, helping humanity, being somebody's individual guardian angel, their intentions can
Hmm.
be quite different. With the blue celestial beings, they come from uh, another dimension, a different frequency. It feels more neutral, but it also feels, and they're all benevolent, benevolent meaning it goes beyond love. It's just this cleaner, clearer capacity of no judgment, no criticism. Everybody's beautiful in their own way, and that's that sense that comes from them. And so when I connect with the angelic realm, for me personally, I really feel it in my heart. When I connect with the celestial beings, it's like a full body, experience. So,
Hmm.
and I imagine everybody's different.
Yeah. Maybe share a little bit more about what are some of the signs, since you don't necessarily need to be aware of the blue beans to have the some of the beneficial impacts. So what are some of the signs that the blue light is working, the codes are activating, that you're sort of some of the shifts are happening in your body and being as a result?
Yeah, it's that was one of the things I was really curious about as well, Stephen, and I'm still highly curious about it. I did it was I think 2 years ago, I had a blue light code class and had the blue light beings come in, and I uh, had set it up. I think that they would have 3 to 4 teachings per week. I had to dial it all the way back to 2 classes a week and almost had to dial it back to 1 class a week, because when the blue celestial beings come in and the code comes in, it's it's very fast. Things shift very quickly on the inside of the body, where all your organs are impacted, your nervous system's impacted. Like it just becomes lighter, cleaner, clearer, brighter. People will say all of a sudden, it's like they can breathe like they're standing on a mountaintop, just taking this in this fresh, clean air. They'll feel like the burdens have been lifted because there's a lot of purging that can happen in the human energy field. And it happens like just snapping your finger very quickly. And so, what I learned in that time was it can feel like eating, the commercial eating Lay's potato chips. You can't just eat one, it can feel so clean and so clear that you're just like, oh, I just am going to do more and more and more of this. But the body needs time to integrate those high frequencies. So, yeah, the feelings are heightened alertness, greater clarity of the mind, greater certainty. Uh, I don't even know if it's confidence, it would be higher confidence, hope, a lot of hope in the world. Like, wow, like people can sense that there are changes right available to them.
Mm, truly fascinating. Well, Nancy, I could keep asking you questions, and I also want to give you a little chance to guide us in a process of connecting with this blue light and the beings behind it. So, it'd be great to do that now.
Yeah, so let me just kind of just let everyone know. So when the type of meditation that I guide you through is, I first and foremost always want to share with anyone, if you've never meditated before, that is not a requirement to have me just have you follow the guidance. I also do what I call an active meditation, meaning I'm not asking you to clear your mind. I'm not asking you to go into total silence. Your body gets to participate in this meditation. So I'm going to just guide you through the steps, and you're simply follow them. We are going to work with the blue light immediately. I want you to have that experience with the blue light. We will call in the blue star beings. You will call in the star beings. It's important that you would be open and willing. And if you are not, that's totally okay. So I just want to give you a heads up about that you always have the freedom to select having them work with your field or not. And they do work with your field fast. And so today, what's the intention of this meditation? I'm just going to ask that they're going to enhance the frequency of your body, to enhance the intuitive abilities you already have right now that you might not even be aware of. And so that's what we're going to do. Okay.
Sounds great.
All right. So if you'll go ahead, and if you're comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes. And if you're just like to be a little more cautious, then I just ask that you close your eyes halfway. Close your eyelid halfway. It's kind of like leaving the night light on in your bedroom. Tune into your physical body by feeling the weight of your body resting on the chair or the bed or the floor. Say hello to your physical body. And just let your physical body know that you're just going to do a very short, brief meditation where your body gets to experience a blue light frequency. Beautiful. Now say hello to your higher self. Now, your higher self is the part of your own spirit that resides above your head, outside of your body. You definitely have a soul that resides inside your body, but your higher self is not encumbered by the body itself. So say hello to your higher self and see if you can sense at all your higher self saying hello back to you. Ask your higher self to help you have an experience with the blue light frequency. Let your higher self know, I'd like to make my experience real for me. And then ask your higher self to help call in the blue celestial star beings. And I often recommend that you ask the star beings to, when they come in, to stand back as far as is comfortable for you. It might be 20 feet away or 50 feet away. And at any point you wish for them to step forward, they will listen to you. They want you to be comfortable. Now we are going to first ground into Mother Earth. And so I'm going to ask you to imagine this blue beam of light, a lapis color blue, from the area around the outside of your hips. And then allow this blue beam to just drop straight below you, passing through the basement of the building you're in, pass through the earth's crust. And it's just like it can just pass through. This invisible force of blue can pass through all the layers of the earth with great ease, great effortlessness. And then once you're at the center of the earth, and I'm watching your energy field, and it just goes deeper, deeper, and just let yourself know when you're at the magnetic core, just let that blue beam of grounding light anchor right into the core there. Now imagine like a blue earth energy. I like to pretend like it's like a powdery lapis frequency or powdery lapis crystals. It can be like clay, it can be like blue water or light. Allow it to start moving up through the bottom of your feet from the blue earth frequency. Up through your feet, dissolving What has been hidden will be revealed, dissolving illusion, enhancing truth, all the way up through your legs, through your knees, your thighs, your hips, into your pelvis, and then like a waterfall, that blue earth is going to begin just showering back down to the center of the earth. Beautiful. Now, at this point, the blue celestial beings can move in just a little bit closer, and they're going to begin sharing with you blue light codes, what's called blue neutrinos. It's blue sacred geometry. There may be Egyptian symbols. It's going to be unique to each and every one of you. And it's going to be through a blue plasma of light. So above your head, just bring in that large ball of blue plasma light and let it just start flowing down through the top of your head, flowing down through your auric field. And some of you just may sense that your physical body is just drinking it in. It's dissolving anything that says you're not intuitive. It's dissolving all beliefs or patterns that may express to you, I'm limited in my intuitive abilities. Those are considered illusions, dissolving those so that the truth of you being a very intuitive, multidimensional being, that truth of that can come to the surface. Let's just take a little bit more of letting this blue flow through your auric field. And if you're comfortable, you can ask the blue beings of light to enhance your intuitive qualities. Notice what you notice, sense what you sense. There you go. You've had a nice big release. Thank the blue beings of light for their celestial presence as they slowly back away. And then thank your body, thank your higher self. And whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes and reacclimate yourself to the room that you're in. And notice how did you feel before you were listening to this call and after that meditation? What's your sense about how you feel afterwards? I like to call myself teaching by contrast. So sometimes we don't know how we're feeling until we compare it to how we were feeling.
Mm.
Uh, but yeah, it was beautiful. Big releases.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's beautiful settled quality, very tingly. So
Mm.
for those of us, I couldn't perceive the actual blue beans, but if there's a beautiful peacefulness of about that. So
Mhm.
anything about, does it continue to work on you, or is there integration afterwards? What do you tend to do next?
So yes, so afterwards, it can tend to actually take time to acclimate, even weeks afterwards, to where they're still shifting. But some of the bigger things uh, that those of you may notice is synchronistic events have gotten enhanced, some intuitive sensations have been enhanced. Uh, your body is becoming a more attuned light body in a sense. Again, this was a short meditation, but all of those things, often people will have surprising feeling lighter experiences right away, and then it'll gently unfold even more.
Mm,
But
beautiful.
it is that easy to call them in. You
Hmm.
don't have to be extra special. They think that humans are like the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, they love humanity. Uh, I don't know if love's the right word, but they they know they have a sense about what it's like to be in human form going through this great time of change on the earth. And so
Mm,
there's that sense of their willingness and desire to be present.
mm. I want to ask one other question just around how does this connect with activating our light body in general, sort of like in sort of a lot of the lore around the light body.
There is, and it's this process I've been really spending a lot of time with them on. It has a lot to do with the DNA. So the way that they've explained it is in our human form, depending on the frequency on the earth, we have access to certain DNA, and we know our DNA is like I have brown eyes, I have gray hair, I'm 5'3", whatever. Those are going to be the physical DNA abilities, but we have access to so many more capabilities. And so our DNA is kind of being turned on and activated um, to help us kind of perceive higher, I would say higher states of consciousness, but what's better said is understanding language, understanding like language of medicine, a language of science. Uh, we could have people who are non-scientific people making incredible discoveries. You can have never played music in your life and be able to play music. So they talk about these, the DNA will be kind of more activated. Then we have the epigenetics of our ancestral line. So those are being worked on as well. But it's as the frequencies coming in, we're working on it. So the light body it's almost like your liver's your liver. And yet when your liver becomes a light body, it's able to hold a lot more chi. So it's already known to hold a lot of chi, a lot of energy, a lot of frequency. It can hold more, and it can also be more stable on regulating the body and more stable in regulating emotions. So all of those qualities, and me being a nurse, when they start sharing that with me, and I'm like, oh, I thought it was nurse or extraterrestrials. Like, I just didn't see how all this was relevant.
Mm,
And then they start sharing, well, as the light body comes online, a lot's going to be changing on the inside. And the last thing I'll say about that is like the metamorphosis of the caterpillar that goes into the cocoon and totally liquefies, and then comes back together and suddenly has wings. So We don't know. I don't have all the answers. It is a work in progress, but it's a very exciting work in progress.
It is a very exciting work in progress, and there's just I just feel like you talk about it in such a trustworthy way, and it's out there, but it's also very everyday and grounded too. So it's really cool. Well, let's talk about your upcoming course, which is a chance to really go deep into these codes and activate them in our own lives in a much deeper way. So, we're very blessed that Nancy's agreed to teach this brand new course for Shift. It's called the Blue Light Codes for Evolution, Celestial Guidance to Support Spiritual Awakening, Elevate Your Consciousness, and Expand Your Intuitive Abilities. So you can find it at the URL bluelightevolution.com, bluelightevolution.com. This is a 7-week program. You don't have to have any particular background with blue light or intuitive abilities at all. It really just a hunch that this is going to be good for you. So, Nancy, I'd love for you to share some of your intentions for what people will come away with, and then let's go through the modules and give a preview.
Well, my biggest intention is that I want people to feel confident in their own ability to get their own information and make their best intuitive, wise, knowledgeable decisions for themselves about everything. We are living in a world where it is really noisy with a lot of people's opinions, and there are a lot of people that don't trust themselves. So my intentions, the biggest walk away is I want each and every person on the face of the planet, but also for this course, to really start to get that sense about just how incredible they are and how capable they are of really tapping into themselves, and that they are such beautiful beings and such beautiful people. And it is this layering effect, and it is what we're going through right now. And I always say, when I went through this over 30 years, the frequency on the earth was much slower. Sometimes it feels like walking through quicksand. But this day and age, everyone now, you all have this frequency on your side to be able to move much quicker than I ever was able to. So yeah, being independent in their own energetic self-care and trusting their intuition, and being able to the anxiety, they're all signs. The anxiety and the depression, they're all intuitive signs that the body is trying to acclimate very quickly. And so I'm going to be covering that as well.
Great. So module 1 is called Ground Your Spiritual Awakening Through the Wisdom of Your Body.
Yeah. And that is really that same message, I think, that I've been saying throughout our talk, is really connecting with the body in a deeper way. We're going to be talking about what has been called ascension symptoms, and I've decided to rename it and call it adaptation symptoms, because we are adapting to higher frequencies. So we're going to be talking about that more.
Module 2, work with your crystalline body to navigate spiritual transformation with a regulated nervous system.
Yeah, so we're hearing a lot about neurodivergence. Often I might say my nervous system feels threadbare. Our vagus nerve, there's a lot about that, where it can get really overwhelmed with the frequencies that are coming in. And so in the crystalline body is about it all, it's about that blue light coming into the body to help stabilize the nervous system. So we'll be talking about that then, and having experiences on every level.
Module 3, discover your natural intuitive style to strengthen your intuition through your natural gifts.
This is where I'm going to see if we can start to flesh out the basic clairs. What's your basic style? Are you a feeler? Are you a knower? Are you a seer? Are you a feeler? And it's really interesting, because I really take those definitions to a really deep level, because sometimes it's hard to know what your sense is, and some people have all of those senses. But we do talk about learning about your dominant style, so they'll be having experience to help flesh that out a little bit more.
Module 4, expand your intuitive senses beyond the 4 clairs to deepen your connection to Earth, cosmos, and inner knowing.
Yes, and so that's where we're going to do a deeper dive into the earth. So, into the earth, what do those earth experiences look like? What do they feel like in the body? What does the earth sound like? We're going to go use the four basic clairs to help identify that. And then we'll also do the cosmos and then that inner knowing. As I always describe, knowing this is the least appreciated intuitive quality but the highest level intuitive quality. So I'll be visiting that a lot more in that module as well.
Module 5, partner with planetary forces for greater balance and insight during periods of growth, transition, and awakening.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the planet. We'll also be doing some looking at planetary grids right now, doing some work with the grids and really sensitive to the Earth and also the other planets that are in our solar system right now, and tuning into some of the different planets to see if you can sense like what does Mars experience like? What does Venus experience or Jupiter or Saturn? Or Uranus. So we'll get to have some experiences with the different planets intuitively.
Module 6, develop somatic and thermal intuition through the wise body as a powerful source of intuitive insight.
Yeah, so I just am I get so genuinely excited about the human body, as I've also mentioned several times. And now, as I realize that as it becomes more attuned in a light body, it is like a tuning fork. So, we're going to have some experiences in this module to tune to that. Also, I talked about the hot and the cold. But when I said, about anxiety, depression, panic attacks, it's like we're going to talk about that a little bit more about could those actually be intuitive impressions? And if so, how are we going to work with them?
And finally, Module 7, deepen your relationship with the spiritual realm to trust your connection to the unseen world.
Yep. So we're going to have more experiences because often there's a lot of individuals that I work with that are having experiences with the unseen world and they have no idea. So, again, experiential teaching on how to uh, become more sensitive. So, if we'd had more time today than the 7-ish minutes, it's like, how do you know if they're in the room? Because you may not see them if you're not a seer, but you may feel them, or they definitely have a sound to them, which I didn't mention, where they sound like whales and dolphins. And so for some of you, you'll pick up on that as well. So we're going to experience a lot more of that in that module.
Well, what a fascinating course this is going to be, and truly so relevant to these times where it seems like so much
Mhm.
chaos on the surface, but really there's a lot of freeing up, of dissolving of the old patterns and the awakening of the new.
Yeah.
So, a little bit more about it. So, again, the URL is bluelightevolution.com, and there's more on each of the 7 90-minute live sessions. In each of those live sessions, you'll have interactive time, practices together. You actually also address your questions live to Nancy. In addition, you'll get recordings of every session, both video and audio, as well as word for word transcripts that you can study and highlight. There's weekly practices for home. There's an online community group to support you and deepen your experience and make connections around this work, as well as small group time to connect with other participants. On the page, you'll also see a number of great extra bonuses that help enhance your journey. There's Exploring Higher Consciousness Connections. This is actually 3 full audios and 1 PDF from Nancy. Want to share more about that bonus?
So that one I'm particularly excited about as well. It is about the crown chakra. We're going to do a lot of focus around the crown chakra because that is where sometimes your intuition can get blocked just because the energy's blocked. It can't come in. Your crown chakra is also activates your imagination. And so we're going to talk more about that as well because your spirit requires your imagination to be able to do everything else.
That's what just one bonus, that whole package. Then there's a second bonus that's 1 video plus 2 audio meditations. It's called the Metamorphosis. I'm going to share more about the Metamorphosis.
So in the metamorphosis, I do talk about that process of that. I kind of call it this metamorphic meteoric rise in consciousness and expansion, where we are going through that shift in the light body. I'm going to, in this video, in the 2 guided meditations, where I do that guided around the caterpillar and the transformation that's going through and then coming out the other side. So we're kind of how are we entering into this process? Because this is not an overnight success kind of thing with the metamorphosis rise. I call it the 3 3 3s, meaning, over the next 3 months and then 3 years and then 30 years. So we have entered into this, and this bonus will provide more information about that.
It's a great extra bonus by itself. And then there's one final bonus. It's our special bonus you get by signing up by midnight tonight Pacific time. This gives you a bit of an extra incentive to tune in now at bluelightevolution.com. Read through the page, tune in with yourself. If you choose to move forward today, you're going to get the Ouroboros and Nut, enter the sacred spiral of infinity. This is videos and audio meditations. We haven't talked about Ouroboros or Nut, and how does that connect in with all of this?
So those are Egyptian gods, goddesses. And when I was in Egypt, there's a lot of different, beings, gods and goddesses that you can connect with. But in Ouroboros and Nut, it's about the pure consciousness. It is that pure creative force. It's such a dark, dark blue that it's almost black. And in that process, that's where all of creation, that's where that whole, again, I'll call it metamorphic. And it's such a beautiful state to be in when you can go into that pure state of consciousness where you're not being pulled in any other different direction. And it's a really great place to start, to start to come back out into the light of what I call now the new human. So yeah, it is very Egyptian related, and its history goes back, easily tens of thousands of years.
Super fascinating. Well, that's a great extra reason to sign up right away. And that, again, that's the Ouroboros and Nut, enter the sacred spiral of infinity. So this is clearly going to be a fascinating, groundbreaking, and healing program. And we've kept the investment very accessible. It's just 3 payments of $128. You can save 10% when you pay in full with one payment of $349. The course is going to start August 11th and run Tuesdays at 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern. But even if you can't make the live times, you can still get the full value with the recordings and transcripts in the community as well. Some great testimonials from Nancy's previous programs, and I love that your deep love and humility shine like no other teacher I know. So really beautiful testimonials, incredible teacher, absolutely love learning. So really dedicated students, and a lot of gratitude for Nancy's very clear and uplifting teaching. So again, it's all at bluelightevolution.com, and you'll get that special bonus with Ouroboros and Nut. Enter the sacred spiral of infinity if you sign up by midnight tonight. So thank you, Nancy. Really illuminating hour. Anything still on your heart
Yeah.
you want to share with folks who are considering doing your course?
Yeah. Oh gosh. Um, what I would like to share is these can be really challenging times, and they can be really suffering times for a lot of people. What I have learned, not just over these 30 years, but especially in these last 10 years, is that we have a lot of support, not only our own soul, our own spirit, we just have a lot of support around us. And I just don't think we can talk about that enough,
Mm,
and access it. We are being given all the tools we need to ease our way through these times. And that's why I'm doing what I do. That's why I'm sharing them.
beautiful. Well, Nancy, it's really clear that you're such an authentic and real teacher, and really tapping into some very important dimensions here for our collective healing. So thank you, Nancy.
Thank
Thank you all for
you.
joining. I look forward to seeing many of you in Nancy's program. Again, it's all at
I'll see you there.
bluelightevolution.com.
All right.
Bye bye. Oh.